Thank you for watching Conscious Consumer Network. The live stream broadcast is free to view. You can pause and rewind live broadcasts to catch up, or view shows at a later date by accessing our free archives of all shows. Check out our broadcast guide to see what's on. You can show your support by donating to our network support fund. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or subscribe to the monthly newsletter for updates. We thank you for supporting free and independent media.
Hi, my name's Sue Everatt, and I've been a supporter and a volunteer for the Venus Project for about 8 years in all now, and my dog has as well. And as well as being the point of contact for Spain, I'm also the coordinator for the Spanish language team. We do the translations for the Venus Project through the Linguistic Team International. And I'm also one of the team of admins for TVP activism. And my goal today is for those of you who perhaps haven't heard so much about the Venus Project yet, try and explain a bit the difference between a monetary system as we have today and what life could be like in a resource-based economy where all goods and services could be made available to everybody without a price tag, trade, barter or exchange of any kind. So let's start and hope that I don't get a coughing attack, that I don't garble my words, that I don't start frothing at the mouth, and that the dogs keep quiet. Here we go. What's wrong with this picture? Well, money hasn't always existed. Money is not a natural resource. If you plant a coin, a money tree doesn't grow. If you were to get washed up on a desert island with a briefcase full of money, if you've got no fresh water, no food and no shelter, all the money serves for nothing. So why was money even invented? Because of scarcity. Not enough of something to satisfy everyone. When there's a shortage of something, the way today's system works, and in fact almost all societies work, is that a method of exchange is needed. But how did money start, and what did we do before it existed? Let's take a brief look at its history. Of course, for much of human history, barter has been used, exchanging one action or service for another. I'll help you kill that mammoth if you help me get rid of the animal that's inhabiting the cave I want to live in. Or if you help me plant and cultivate my crops, I will give you some when they've grown. Or maybe chickens and tomatoes could be exchanged for whatever you want to obtain. But chickens and tomatoes are not an efficient way to buy a house, for example. How many chickens would you have to take with you to buy a house? There have been many things over the centuries that have been used as currency. For example, cowrie shells. These shells have all the characteristics of money. They're durable, handy, they're convenient, they're easily recognizable, and they're divisible. And in comparison with foodstuffs or feathers, which can fall prey to vermin, cowrie shells can easily withstand frequent handling. They're small and easy to transport, and they're very pretty. Besides, counting was not always absolutely necessary because as all the shells almost all had the same shape and size, weighing was often enough to determine the value of a payment. The length of number of shells strung on thread was also a measure used by native North Americans to value the dentalium shell, a type of tusk shell. And the length of this strung tusk shell currency, curiously enough, was measured between the nipples of breasts. I wonder how many things you could purchase with one string between your nipples. Another natural resource that has been used as a medium of exchange is salt. This is a salt bar called an amole, I think that's how you pronounce it, or a ganfur from Ethiopia. But why was salt considered valuable? Well, salt's ability to preserve food was a foundation of civilization. It helped to eliminate the dependence on the seasonal availability of food, and it allowed travel over long distances. But at first it was very difficult to obtain, and so it was highly valued, especially for trading. And it became considered a form of currency by certain people. So here we have an example of something scarce being used to trade for something else that is scarce. And of course, we have paper money, which is really only got a value because we believe the governments when they tell us it has, not because it's made of anything scarce. The idea of using a durable, lightweight substance as evidence of a promise to pay if bearer on demand originated in China. Sorry about this. During the Han Dynasty in 118 BC, and was made of leather, white deer skin apparently. The first known paper banknote was developed in China during the Tang and Song dynasties, starting in the 7th century. They made paper money as an offshoot of the invention of block printing. Block printing is like stamping. And Yuan dynasty banknotes are the first recorded fiat notes. But what does fiat mean? Fiat currency, according to Wikipedia. Fiat money has been defined variously as any money declared by a government to be legal tender, state-issued money which is neither convertible by law to any other thing nor fixed in value in terms of any objective standard, or money without intrinsic value, such as paper. And the term derives from the Latin fiat, which means let it be done or it shall be. So while coins of gold and silver and other precious metals did have at least some value, paper notes are really just I promise to pays or IOUs. Another problem with money is that it is now always created with debt. And what does that mean? To simplify the explanation, think of when you ask the bank for a loan. The bank doesn't actually print notes to the amount you ask for, nor do they dig up gold or silver to make coins. Basically, they simply create it on the computer screen. But then you have to repay that debt plus interest. However, the amount needed to pay back that interest isn't created. As more money is lent, so the debt grows. And this is why there simply isn't enough money to pay back the world debt. So that's just a very brief history of why we started to use money and a very simplified explanation of how it's created. It's actually much more complicated. And what happens is the deeper you look into it, the more you understand what a scam it is. Over time, money has changed from being a useful tool to acquire goods and services and has become a tool for manipulation, a serious cause of corruption, and a creator of cruel inequality. How can it be that something we have created, is allowed to be more powerful than man himself? Capitalism. And what's the definition of capitalism? It's an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. And this is where the problem lies. This is a quote from Jack Fresco. Most important, when the corporation's bottom line is profit, decisions in all areas are made not for the benefit of people and the environment, but primarily for the acquisition of wealth, property, and power. The aim is not to provide an efficient service or a good quality product. The aim is to make a profit. And a company to be profitable has to be competitive. And to be competitive, you have to be cheaper than the others. And to be cheaper than the others, you have to cut costs, wages, safety measures in the workplace, dispose of toxic products by emptying them into the rivers. And to maintain a monetary system, the population needs to consume and consume, no matter that we are eating up the world's resources faster than the planet can replenish them. On August the 8th of this year, 2016, we began to use more from nature than our planet can renew in the whole year. We use more of our planet's resources than nature can regenerate through overfishing, over-harvesting forests, overproducing goods, and emitting more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than forests can sequester. And this is madness. And it also comes from something we all know about and are affected by: planned obsolescence. The deliberate fabrication of inferior products so that they will break down faster and oblige us to buy a new one. And this evidently creates tremendous waste. There's also something called psychological obsolescence, which is instilling in the buyer You're designed to own something a little newer, a little better, a little sooner than necessary. The latest iPhone to be in fashion. Another quote from Jack Fresco. There is tremendous waste of material and strain on available resources from superficial design changes for newer, later fads each year in order to create continuous markets for manufacturers. Talking about fashion, a slightly different skirt level, flares on trouser legs, higher or lower heels, publicity that convinces us that our value as a person comes from owning the latest, biggest, most expensive, whatever stuff. I'm going to read something from the website now, from the Venus Project website. The resource-based economy does not value people by their ability to acquire possessions and accumulate material objects. In fact, it is not part of the equation at all. It is the right of every person to be able to have access to the necessities of life, which include all of the goods and services that a highly productive and technologically advanced society can achieve. There is no need for constantly purchasing goods, as the need for money is no longer relevant, and the perpetuation of society does not depend on the need to buy products. There is also no need to coerce the public through psychological advertising or emotional appeal, making people feel inferior if they don't have the latest, often worthless product. There's so much stuff that we own that we hardly use. Tennis rackets when you play maybe once or twice a year, or golf clubs, or a guitar you bought years ago when you thought you might learn to play but you never did. And maybe you've got a shed full of tools that you get out once a year to do some DIY, you know, or a surfboard that you can only use when you can afford to go somewhere where you can surf. So much don't we accumulate as possessions? We're taught to want, but wants are not needs. And on a planet with finite resources, it's absurd for everyone to want more stuff. We collect stuff like crazy. George Carlin explained it well in this monologue. Read the video when you're ready, please.
I would have been out here a little bit sooner, but they gave me the wrong dressing room, and I couldn't find any place to put my stuff. And I don't know how you are, but I need a place to put my stuff. So that's what I've been doing back there, just trying to find a place for my stuff. You know how important that is. That's the whole meaning of life, isn't it? Trying to find a place for your stuff. That's all your house is. Your house is just a place for your stuff. If you didn't have so much goddamn stuff, you wouldn't need a house. You could just walk around all the time. That's all your house is. It's a pile of stuff with a cover on it. You see that when you take off in an airplane and you look down and you see everybody's got a little pile of stuff. Everybody's got their own pile of stuff. And when you leave your stuff, you gotta lock it up. Wouldn't want somebody to come by and take some of your stuff. They always take the good stuff. They don't bother with that crap you're saving. Ain't nobody interested in your 4th grade arithmetic papers. They're looking for the good stuff. That's all your house is. It's a place to keep your stuff while you go out and get more stuff. Now, sometimes you've got to move. You got to get a bigger house. Why? Too much stuff. You've got to move all your stuff. And maybe put some of your stuff in storage. Imagine that. There's a whole industry based on keeping an eye on your stuff. Enough about your stuff. Let's talk about other people's stuff. Did you ever notice when you go to somebody else's house, you never quite feel 100% at home? You know why? No room for your stuff. Somebody else's stuff is all over the place. And what awful stuff it is. Where did they get this stuff? And if you have to stay overnight at someone's house, you know, unexpectedly, and they give you a little room to sleep in that they don't use that often, someone died in it 11 years ago, and they haven't moved any of his stuff. Or wherever they give you to sleep, usually right near the bed there's a dresser, and there's never any room on the dresser for your stuff. Someone else's shit is on the dresser. Have you noticed that their stuff is shit and your shit is stuff? Get that off of there. Now, sometimes you go on vacation, you gotta bring some of your stuff with you. You can't bring all your stuff. Just the stuff you really like. The stuff that fits you well that month. Let's say you're going to go to Honolulu. You're going to go all the way to Honolulu. You got to take 2 big bags of stuff. Plus your carry-on stuff, plus the stuff in your pockets. You get all the way to Honolulu and you get in your hotel room and you start to put away your stuff. That's the first thing you do in a hotel room is put away your stuff. I'll put some stuff in here, put some stuff down there. Here's another place for some stuff here. I'll put some stuff over there. You put your stuff over there. I'm putting my stuff over here. Here's another place for some stuff. Hey, we got more places than we've got stuff. We're going to have to buy more stuff. Yeah. And you put all your stuff away and you know that you're thousands of miles from home and you don't quite feel at ease, but you know that you must be okay because you do have some of your stuff with you. And you relax in Honolulu on that basis. That's when your friend from Maui calls and says, hey, why don't you come over to Maui for the weekend, spend a couple of nights over here? Oh, shit, no. Now what stuff do you bring? Right, you've got to bring an even smaller version of your stuff. Just enough stuff for a weekend on Maui. And you get over, and you're really spread out now. You've got shit all over the world. You've got stuff at home, stuff in storage, stuff in Honolulu, stuff in Maui, stuff in your pockets. Supply lines are getting longer and harder to maintain. But you get over to your friend's house in Maui and they give you a little place to sleep and there's a little window ledge or some kind of a small shelf and there's not much room on it, but it's okay because you don't have much stuff now. And you put what stuff you do have up there. You put your imported French toenail clippers, your odor readers with the 45-day guarantee, your cinnamon-flavored dental floss, and your Afrin 12-hour decongestant nasal spray. And even though you're a long way from home, you know that you must be okay because you do have your Afrin 12-hour decongestant nasal spray. And you relax in Maui on that basis. That's when your friend says, hey, I think tonight we'll go over the other side of the island, stay at my friend's house overnight. Oh, shit, no. No! What do you bring? Now you just bring the things you know you're gonna need. Money, keys, comb, wallet, lighter, hanky, pen, cigarettes, contraceptives, Vaseline, whips, chains, whistles, dildos, and a book.
So here is one of the areas where a resource-based economy would be so much more logical and ecological than a monetary system. We don't need one of everything for every household. What we need is access to things when we need them. Distribution of goods and services without the use of money or tokens would be accomplished by establishing distribution centres. These centres would be similar to expositions, where the advantages of new products are explained and demonstrated. Exhibition centres will display what is new and available and will constantly updated. If you visited Yellowstone National Park, you could check out a camera or camcorder, use it, and then return it to another distribution centre or drop-off, eliminating storage and maintenance. Besides computerized centres throughout the communities where products would eventually be displayed, there will be 3D flat screen imaging in each home. If you desire an item, an order can be placed and the item automatically delivered directly to your place of residence without a price tag, servitude, or debt of any kind. This includes whatever people need, such as housing, clothing, education, healthcare, entertainment, and so on. Raw materials for products can be transported directly to manufacturing facilities by automated transportation sequences using boats, monorails, maglev trains, pipelines, and pneumatic tubes. An automated computerized inventory system would integrate the distribution centers and manufacturing facilities, coordinating production to meet demand. In this way, a balanced load economy can be maintained. Shortages, overruns, and waste would be eliminated. Eventually, goods and services will be mass-produced in such abundance as to be too cheap to monitor. After this, that all goods will be made to the highest quality possible, made to last, and incorporated into the design would be recyclability, fabrication methods that do not damage the environment, and the most energy-saving methods of production would be used across the board for everything from construction of houses and cities to the packaging for a new cell phone. Scarcity today is created so as to maintain higher prices. Goods such as food are sometimes destroyed to keep prices up. When things are scarce, prices increase. Food products are thrown away so that the market can keep earning. Perfectly good food is also discarded because it isn't pretty enough. Millions of human beings around the world can't eat, and yet we throw millions of tons of food away each year. What a lousy distribution system we have today. In a resource-based economy, as well as having efficient distribution systems, we would grow food locally using hydroponics, for example. This is a hydroponic tower. This could feed people in countries that suffer from water shortages, as the method uses very little water. Hunger and starvation is totally unnecessary today in the 21st century, and with the technology that we already have. But the benefits of technology are only distributed to those who have sufficient purchasing power. Homelessness. How absurd is it that we have more empty homes than homeless people? Education. How bizarre is it that we have unemployed teachers and youngsters having to get themselves into debt to pay to be able to study? And how insane is it that people are dying because they can't afford medical treatment or they don't have access to a doctor, and yet we have doctors without work? Plus, pay attention to all the governments around the world who are making cutbacks on public health services and pushing for privatization. Capitalism at its finest. In a resource-based economy, an efficient production and distribution system will ensure that everyone has a healthy diet. Home, a real home, not a shack made of corrugated metal or cardboard boxes. A free education that is relevant to the world we live in. Educated population is so much more beneficial to society than an ignorant one. An education that teaches us about our relationship to the planet instead of preparing us to be a slave to a wage. If we don't learn about our relationship to the planet, how can we be expected to take care of it instead of killing it through twisted values? As for medical attention, everyone would have access to the best treatment available and without a price tag. We have the technology to produce an abundance of goods and services today. It exists. I don't want to go too deeply into it because Pageman will talk about technology next week. But I do want to explain what is meant by abundance, though. When the Venus Project talks about abundance, producing an abundance of things to cover everyone's needs, we must look at it in a different point of view. Abundance doesn't mean turning out millions of useless gadgets for consumption like today. An abundance in a resource-based economy means enough for everyone with some over for possible contingencies. So what do we get now? And how does lack of money affect our behavior? One typical example is how we cut back on the upkeep of the car because the family economy can't pay for the new pieces it needs. We get cars on the road that are unsafe. Not just unsafe for the drivers themselves, but unsafe for everyone else on the roads because they can cause accidents. In a resource-based economy, instead of motor vehicles in the city, all transportation is carried out by circular conveyors that are called transveyors. They move radially, circumferentially, and vertically, and serve the function of elevators and buses. Circular route around the outer perimeters would connect transveyor systems to a radial and vertical extensions, making it possible to travel to any part of the city quickly. No more traffic jams, no more pollution, and no more deaths from traffic accidents. No more worrying about how you're going to pay the insurance for your car, putting gas into it, or having to take it to the mechanics for repair. A lot more emphasis can be put on advancing medical, emergency, service, and transportation vehicles. Some aircrafts will use vertical takeoff and landing systems, VTOL, with 3 synchronous turbines, which allow for exceptional maneuverability. In a society that provides for all your needs, we will see corruption disappear and most crimes too. Why steal when you have everything you need available and without a price tag. Now, you'll notice that I've said that a few times now, without a price tag, without the use of money. This is because money can become obsolete when we use technology to produce the abundance of goods and services. When there is no more scarcity, there is no need for any medium of exchange or barter or trade. Money is just an interference between what one needs and what is able to get. Not money that people need, it's access to resources. Returning to the topic of capitalism for a moment, another way companies are cutting back on expenses is by automating jobs. Not just production in factories. Many other kinds of jobs are becoming automated now, from supermarket checkouts to self-service gas stations. This isn't theory. It's happening, and you can check it out for yourselves on the web or just pay attention in your daily lives. When the great majority of jobs are automated and the majority of population is out of work, how will they be able to pay for the goods and services we can still produce? Capitalism isn't just killing the planet, it's killing itself. What else does money do to our ethics and how we behave because of the need today for money? Here's Jack Fresco talking about ethics in a monetary system. Vicky, when you're ready with the second video, please.
What's in it for me is why people think. And so if a man makes money selling a certain product, naturally he's going to fight the existence of another product that may threaten his institution. Therefore, people cannot be fair, and people do not trust each other. A guy will come over to you and say, I got just the house you're looking for. He's a salesman. When a doctor says, I think your kidney has to come out, I don't know if he's trying to pay off a yacht or that my kidney has to come out. It's hard in a monetary system to trust people. If you came into my store and I said, this lamp that I've got is pretty good, but the lamp next door is much better, I wouldn't be in business very long. It wouldn't work. If I were ethical, it wouldn't work. So when you say industry cares for people, that's not true. They can't afford to be ethical. So your system is not designed to serve the well-being of people. If you still don't understand that, there would be no outsourcing of jobs if they cared about people. Industry does not care. They only hire people because it hasn't been automated yet. So don't talk about decency and ethics. We cannot afford it and remain in business.
So, I'd like to read now frequently asked question number 5 from the website. If all the money in the world were destroyed, as long as we have sufficient arable land, factories, necessary resources and technical personnel, we could build anything and even supply in abundance. During the Depression, there were vacuum cleaners in store windows and automobiles in car lots. The earth was still the same place. There was just no money in people's wallets and very little purchasing power. At the beginning of World War II, the US had about 600 first-class fighting aircraft. We rapidly overcame the short supply by turning out over 90,000 planes per year. The question at the start of World War II was, do we have enough funds to produce the required implements of war? The answer was no. We did not have enough money or gold, but we did have more than enough resources. And it was the available resources and technical personnel that enabled the US to achieve the production and efficiency required to win the war. It appears that the real wealth of any nation is in its natural resources and its people who are working towards a more humane lifestyle through the elimination of scarcity. All social systems, regardless of the political philosophy, religious beliefs, or social norms, ultimately depend upon natural resources. Clean air and water, an arable land area, and the industrial equipment and technical personnel for a high standard of living. The money-based system was designed hundreds of years ago and was hardly appropriate for that time. We still utilize the same outmoded system, which is probably responsible for most of today's problems. I have no doubt that even the wealthiest person today would be far better off in the high-energy societies that the Venus Project proposes. And now, I'd like to end with one last idea. We have certain areas of the planet declared as World Heritages. Why not do the same with the resources? As the frequently asked question number 11 on the Venus Project website states, what is the single most important aspect of the project? The single most important aspect of the project is the social direction of all nations working together on the restoration of the environment in a resource-based economy. The aim is to establish all of the Earth's resources as the common heritage of all the world's people. This we see as the only process to end the present cycle of events of war, poverty, hunger, political corruption, and environmental degradation. Technology that we present can make it possible for the global population to obtain a very high standard of living that is higher than ever imagined possible. We could eventually surpass the artificial boundaries that divide people. If you fail to grasp the significance, consider this. In the United States, when the states joined together, the militias disappeared at the borders and Americans were free of territorial disputes. The same process can be applied globally, where all science and technology are utilized for the benefit of all Earth's inhabitants. Well, I hope I've achieved my goal of helping folks to understand a little bit better some of the ideas the Venus Project proposes, and I'm sure some of you are going to have questions. You may find that some of your questions will be answered in the following weeks as my colleagues do their own talks. But there may be some that are still outstanding. So we've decided that the last broadcast of the season will be a general question and answer session. So please send in your questions to CCN, and we will do our best in the last session to clarify the doubts and questions that you may have. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to CCN for the opportunity to share this information with you. And please watch out for Pageman next week. He's one of the points of contact for Sweden, and he's going to be talking about technology. Okay, so don't miss that. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into CCN. This unique network is dedicated to free and independent media. CCN was created with the belief that information is the common heritage of all beings, which is why our live stream high-definition broadcast is easily accessible and free to view. If we want to change the world, we must first change the media. Having produced over 1,000 shows in 2015, which are all archived on YouTube, we look forward to bringing you more groundbreaking, cutting-edge information in 2016. For more information on what is on, please check out our broadcast guide for weekly updates. CCN broadcasts in multiple languages and features some key voices of our challenging times who are all in pursuit of a free, fair, just, sustainable world. CCN belongs to you, the people, and it is up to you all to keep this network on the air. Please contribute to the Network Support Fund or visit the CCN shop. We thank you all for supporting free and independent media.